Chervil is sometimes called parsley or garden chervil. It is a delicate annual herb related to parsley. The name chervil is from Anglo-Norman, from Latin chaurefila or chaurefilum, meaning leaves of joy. Chervil is a delicate culinary herb used frequently in French cuisine. It is a member of the parsley family with a mild flavor. This spring herb is often used in egg dishes. It is sometimes also called French parsley. Because of its delicate flavor, chervil is usually included in recipes such as salads and soups, where it will not be overpowered by the other flavors. Chervil tastes like delicate cross between tarragon and parsley. It has a mild flavor with hints of licorice or anise, but without those flavors coming through strongly. If you don't have chervil and a recipe calls for it, a fine substitute would be fresh parsley or tarragon, or a combination of the two. Chives or dill might also take the place of chervil for egg dishes, but will have their own flavors. Now let's learn this from our farmer today, shall we? Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you're watching us from. Hey, let me tell you, the scent right here in this farm is just heavenly. Look at this, there are very many herbs here. I can see marjoram, I can spot rosemary, I can spot basil, and what else? And there's parsley. But well, if you thought I've mentioned most of the herbs that you know, then well, you're wrong. We have another herb. This week on Kilimo na Biashara, we want to explore Chervil, or someone else could say Chervil. Whichever school you went to or whichever teacher you had, you call it however you want, but it's Chervil. So that's what you're focusing on today. It's a herb. And you might confuse it for coriander. So let's go explore this particular herb, shall we? Let's go. Mwangi.
Hi, Rinda.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to
Yet with another herb. So what is Chervil? That name I'm sure people will say, so Linda, what's Chervil?
Chervil is another herb in a parsley group, and more of parsley and coriander, but a bit different.
What is that difference between coriander and Chervil? Because it looks quite similar.
You see, it has a bit small serrated leaves, more than coriander, and the aroma is totally different from the two.
What's the major difference now between coriander and Chervil? Because someone will go to the market and wonder, so is this coriander or Chervil?
The big difference it is the leaves. The leaves are a bit serrated and small, quite small than coriander.
Mwangi, you have so many herbs here, different varieties. There's tarragon, rosemary, and basil. Why Chervil?
As I had quoted before, I'm trying to be a bit outside the box, doing different herbs that many people are not into it, and trying to nurture different markets of the same herbs that I'm doing.
And there is the aspect of basket as well. We'll talk about that later because you mentioned also in the other show. But now I'm still on why Chervil as an addition to among the herbs that you have.
One, it has better prices, more than coriander, more than parsley, or more than other herbs. It has a good price. I mean, abroad and and rockery. Though it is not used rockery unless you sell it to an exporter. So definitely it has good prices, and also it is good to be unique.
For sure you're quite unique, but we'll also get into the manufacture later on. Now I'd like to know how it's grown. Like, what are the basics when you're venturing into this?
Number one, it is a seed. We get it as a seed. You sow it, it takes a little bit long time to germinate than other herbs or other seeds, because it takes around 14 to 18 days to germinate. Then after that, you transplant it. Then after transplanting, it takes days, normal days like coriander, around 21 to 1 month. It will be ready for harvesting.
That's quite a short time. But now I want to know the soil conditions needed when you're growing chervil. Which type of soil is really favorable before we speak about other management practices? Okay, about soil condition, the soil should be well aerated, because the seeds needs a lot of aeration. It needs a lot of humus, so you must apply manure diligently or in plenty. You must apply compost if you have compost to use. It needs well-fed soil. It's a high feeder because we get reefs, and after harvesting you need to get it needs to come back again. So it needs things to be fed with high nitrogen, because we consume the leaves. You touched on using manure. So you use organic. This is an organic farm. We purely use, it's either tested goat manure or other tested or certified compost. That is what you use. Definitely you don't go correcting anything like manure. You have to test the manure first and be sure that you are using the right component. How do you test? No, we have... Especially the compost. Yeah, we use kefis, use crop nut, they test manure, they give you the feedback, nutritional feedback, and the diseases, if there is any diseases that you need or any curation you need to do before you apply your manure. Wait, so you test even compost? Compost should be tested, because we've gotten used to just getting the compost right below the chicken house, the poultry house, and we pour it in the farm. For us, we do testing, because maybe you may be transferring a disease from where you get the manure from, and there is a way to cure it. You do it first before you apply. And why is it that chervil had to be supplied with compost as opposed to the rest of the herbs that we've seen here in the farm? Maybe you have not seen that I've applied to others. I've done, but not in plenty as chervil. As I mentioned, it needs to be well fed. It is a heavy feeder, because definitely you harvest around 8 times and you need to feed it quite well. And how is the feeding program? As long as you have applied manure, which is you have got it tested, and you know the percentage of N, the percentage of P, and percentage of K, you'll know what to add. Maybe for convention, you'll add using conventional fertilizers. So you'll know whether you have res N, you boost the N. If you have res P, you boost the P. And if you have res K, you boost the K. And how about water? Is it a heavy consumer? Not really. Any plant needs optimal water. It doesn't need that a lot of water. It just needs the soil to have optimal moisture in it. So it is not that it needs a lot of water. Since it's vegetative, Mwangi, can you use any other system of irrigation aside from this drip irrigation that you've installed here? Because it's vegetative, it can use sprinkler. Is there an option like that? For irrigation system, we ought to go with the drips. The reason being, drips will always keep your crop clean, because definitely the water will go straight to the soil. As in haitainua mchanga iende kumea. So definitely you have your crop clean as it is needed. At this point, Mwangi, I'm so sure our viewers are curious what this chervil is used for. What is it really used for? Chervil is used
like coriander. It is used to cook food. It gives a good aroma, definitely, and it has a lot of medicinal benefits. It controls blood pressure, it controls digestive system. The other people will let Chervil grow. They'll dry the flowers for medicinal purposes, for gouts and so. So it's very important. It's a very good herb.
And I'm just wondering, when it comes to management of this, as opposed to the management practices in the other herbs, this particular one looks so fragile. Is it hard to maintain, unlike the rest of the herbs?
Yeah, I would say it's quite involving, because you see it is under shade net. It doesn't require that straight sunlight. You have to sieve the sunlight with not less than 40%. It has a unique way of management.
Tell me, Mwangi, is it important for a Chervil farmer to put it or install a shade net when they are growing this crop?
It is a must. It attracts sunburns, or it takes sunburns very easily if the sun is too hot. Then number two, it attracts a lot of pests. So it being inside the shade net, you are also controlling your pest. Maybe aphids, thrips, all those pests. So it needs to be at the shade net. Another thing is like it gets good color when inside the shade net or the greenhouse. Yeah.
So you can either install a greenhouse or the shade net?
Yes.
Okay. Are there some that we can harvest just a little bit to show our viewers up close?
Yeah, definitely I'll show you. There are some which are up to spec.
Okay, let's go. Wow. Have you learned something so far about this particular herb? Quite unique, yeah? But I will show you up close how it looks like and how it smells. Chervil is included in the Fines Herb blend, along with parsley, tarragon and chives. This blend is used in French cooking on poultry, egg dishes and salads. If you have Chervil available, you might want to use it in herb-infused oil, herb butter or herb pesto to use with fish, poultry, eggs, soups or salads. For example, use it in a recipe for roasted cod with wine and herb butter. Unlike its cousins parsley and cilantro, Chervil isn't easy to find at most markets other than specialty stores. As a spring herb, Chervil will be available at different times depending on the local climate. In cooler climates, you will see it from spring into early summer unless grown in a greenhouse. In warmer climates, it may show up at the end of the rainy season or winter or early spring. Today we are focusing on Chervil. It's a herb. I know you're asking, what's that? It's a herb. It looks so much like coriander, but it's in the family of parsley. So we are still exploring that, and perhaps we should show you this up close so that you see the difference. The difference is actually very huge. Mwangi, so let's show them.
First you have to make sure it is up to spec.
Up to spec means what?
That is about 15 centimeters tall. So you'd be exporting a good forage or vegetation, good vegetation. Yeah.
So it begins from right below, not
below.
Up here.
Yeah. And you make sure when you're harvesting now, you don't cut whatever it is coming up. And you cut it from the downside or the below side of the crop.
You have to cut it from below.
Yeah, and make sure you don't cut whatever is upcoming, because that's what you will harvest in next 1 week.
Okay. Now we can harvest some more later, but just to show them, this is how it looks. Yeah, it looks pretty much like coriander, but the leaves are smaller. Asking to learn more about this. Is it a perennial crop? Because I see we've harvested in a different way. We've harvested the vegetative part alone, not from the roots.
Okay, I would call it semi-perennial. It is not actually a perennial crop because it doesn't grow or take more than a year. We harvest around 8 times.
Whoa, 8 times!
Then you uproot it, then you can replant again.
That's huge, that's massive. And within that time frame, how is the production?
Okay, estimate production per meter squared is around 500 grams.
And with the 500 grams now, let's translate it into the money factor. How much will it fetch?
Okay, a kg of it fetches around in between 800 to 1,000 bob, Kenyan money.
Whoa, that's a lot of money. It's actually very expensive. That is really good. But now if you look at the local market, is it receptive? Do you have some of the markets here?
Not really, because people are not familiar with it. They don't consume. It is not sold, so we do purely export.
Speaking of the herbs baskets that many clients recommend, you have basil, you have rosemary, you have the rest of tarragon. Is this part of the basket that the clients require?
Definitely, it is part of the basket, and actually with it, it will help you move other crops which you have.
And which are your biggest markets so far?
Okay, currently we are doing Europe, UK, and a little bit of France.
And is the pricing the same because now you're selling it to different countries?
Not really, pricing are not the same. For UK is a bit more than Europe, France is a bit more than the two. So the prices of it varies. The prices varies to where you are taking your produce.
Does the quality vary? Are some clients ordering with the ones that are vegetative and another one will order right from the roots? Are the orders different?
Yeah, it does. It does. Some actually for us we are opting to go with the vegetative part so that you'll at least harvest as many times as the 8 times we have mentioned.
And does it mean that when you sell it from the roots, it will be quite pricey as opposed to the vegetative selling?
Yeah, definitely you'll sell it at a different price. It may be multiplied by 2 or 3 times, but it is not compared to the 8 times that you have sold if you opt to go with the vegetative part of it.
And since you're one of the biggest players in the herbs world, or as a herbs farmer, how do you see the future of Chervil as a herb?
I can say Chervil has a brighter future ahead, and many clients are requesting or demanding for it. So I would say it's a good crop to do.
And I love asking this question. Is it a profitable venture?
Yes, it is. It is a profitable business. Yes, and I would urge others to maybe to venture in it, and it's good business.
Wow, that is quite good. Now we can harvest some more?
Yeah.
Okay. This side is has grown so well, yeah? So before we continue harvesting, I see the ones that I have here that we harvested earlier on have already withered. Now, what is the time frame between harvesting and getting it to the cold room?
Okay, the process of harvesting to the cold room, should be at least less than 5 minutes.
Less than 5 minutes?
Yes.
We've
yes,
overstayed. Let's finish and go. Oh, you can have my buns here. I have so many. Ooh, this is approximately like...
It's approximately 100 grams.
100 grams?
Yeah.
Wow. You're doing an amazing job. Like, thank you so much. And also thank you for sharing all this info with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we are also looking forward to seeing the success of this particular hub, because you've said the future of this particular hub is bright.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. We
My
truly
pleasure.
appreciate.
Okay.
You can grow chervil yourself in a herb garden. It can be grown in a small pot on your windowsill, or you can plant it in a garden that gets a mixture of sun and shade. It can grow about 2 feet tall. It can be grown from seed sown in the spring. To keep a crop coming, sow seeds through the season every 3 to 4 weeks. It is ready to harvest when the leaves are open fully and tender. You can air dry the leaves and store them. And when it comes to preparing a meal with chervil being part of the additive, chervil is more of a garnish or finishing touch for a dish, so that nothing can diminish the scent and flavor. However, the herb can be used in cooking dishes if it's added very late in the process. Some of the tried and true uses for chervil include egg dishes, just like I mentioned, and the one place it is often considered absolutely essential. Wow, and thank you for being part of the show. Look at this. This is approximately 100 grams. So let me give you some quick maths here. If this is 100 grams, it goes for 100 shillings. And you can imagine that a kg of this will go for how much? About 800 to 1,000 Kenya shillings. Yeah? I'm sure by now you're reconsidering your plans, because you might be confusing this for coriander. Coriander is quite cheaper than this. This is high value. It's mainly for exports, and you've heard about its medicinal factor, but for me, I think what has blown me is the money factor. It's quite pricey, very good money right there. So thank you so much for being part of the show, and see you again next Sunday for yet another exciting episode of Kilimo na Biashara Show. My name is Linda Koskei.